Do you know what? I'm lucky that with Art Theatre, I've literally been able to travel up and down the country doing shows in different like schools and colleges and stuff like that for a few years now. So I've had like a great experience of seeing what it's like in British schools, if you want. I will say there is like a small percentage, in my opinion, that are great, because you get things like academies. You get certain London academies which are amazing, but academies don't have to. They're privately run, so they kind of like can do what they want to do. Yeah. And there are some of them that I'd send my kids to, but there are loads, unfortunately, and it is totally unfortunate that you've got these people kind of like just collecting a check, if you want. Teachers that are collecting a check, and that's kind of really scary, because these little people are going to be running this world soon. Now, when we're sucking our dinner up through a straw and need people to wipe our bums, we're really going to be reliant on these lot hard. Yeah, for real. So we can't take that so lightly, because a child will just suck up whatever you give them. And if we give them something bad, they're going to suck that up. So yeah, it's a bit alarming, to be honest.
I mean, like with the police, they always, you know, even like the raves and stuff like that, they always seem to be blaming music or having something to hide behind for all these issues going on. I mean, people get stabbed and it's because Giggs said something in his track, or you know, this or that or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Instead of actually getting those people who aren't exactly fans of the artist, otherwise they wouldn't even be doing that kind of stupidness at a rave in the first place, because they'd have respect for the people on stage and respect for everyone around them. Do you know what I mean? So surely they should just take these people out of the equation, rather than making everyone else a victim and not allowing people like Giggs, for example, to kind of move on with his music even. Do you know what I mean? On a mainstream kind of thing. Yeah,
it's like it's a shortcut, isn't it? It's an easy way around it. I mean, I think as human beings, you always take the easy route around things sometimes, just because it's just laziness, if you want. And I think if you're a person in power, like a government person or a police chief or something, it might be a little bit easy sometimes to label a track or the latest rapper or whatever, because it's easy. But I've always said life imitates art, or is it art imitates life? I've never figured out which way it is, but I can't talk about living life in the Serengeti or living life in a jungle if I've never experienced it. I can only talk about what's around. When Van Gogh cut off his ear, what did he do? He did a painting of it. Romeo and Juliet is all about knife crime. Do you know what I mean?
That's what I was going to say. Shakespeare is what we learn in GCSE English. It was when I was at school anyway. But you know, so that's the most twisted, violent kind of stories ever. But they don't seem to think, oh, you know, that's why our kids are stabbing each other. No, it's because the urban culture is having certain violent lyrics or whatever. It's just not really seen as artistic license as it should be, really. It should,
especially when you go watch a James Bond film and he's duppy and everyone going around and he's just sleeping with women and killing everyone. And, do you know what I mean?
Exactly, but he is a huge role model. I mean, people love him. They want to be like him. Do you know what I mean? But they don't associate that with what is really going on.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's someone to me like Giggs, who maybe to them is so negative, is actually so positive to me, because, and that's why people attach to him more, because he really was in a bad place.
Yeah, and he's turned his life.
He's totally turned it around. In fact, it's inspirational.
Exactly.
Because it shows people that you can come from a Peckham estate, have a criminal record, but yet you can go and make your dreams come true. That's amazing. Like, and so when you burst his bubble, you're not just bursting his bubble, you're bursting all the people that look at that.
Exactly.
Which is a lot.
And that's when everyone gets their backs up, and that's when it all kind of like goes head to head. Because none of them are listening to each other.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be like bad apples that spoil the lot in it, but we've got to, as well as ourselves, conduct ourselves better. America has got a better infrastructure than us. Like, they call their culture hip-hop, and it's supported, and it's got, but I think it's been grown for a longer period. We're still in our infancy with it, but the strength in having these people coming out as role models, what they show to the rest of the working class kids, young people, is that you can do whatever you want to do. Like when that boy come and asked me about glass blowing, it just shows that yeah, we want to be other things. We want to try and do other stuff, but we might be too scared to do it.
Well, that's what everyone grows up with, a dream, don't they? They want to become something. And as you get older, you do get all these other influences just kind of, like you said, bursting the bubble, isn't it? Like telling you can't do it, this and that. So
definitely,
yeah, I think more things should be done for creative people.
They should, but, and this is what I do say to the kids as well, man, you lot had one thing I never had, which is Google. You know what I mean? Like, back in the day, I had to go find out about things. Now you can just find out how to cook, to make a cupcake if you want on YouTube. So there are a lot of things out there, people, definitely. And you got to remember that, especially if you live in London or if you live in like Birmingham or a major city. London's a place like New York, man. It's like Tokyo, it's like LA, it's a world leader. You got to remember why your mum and dad wanted to come here, man. So we can have like a better life. So remember that. In fact, Google it.
No, that's true. I mean, on my show I do like an international section which plays a track from anywhere in the world. Yeah. Because it's true, we're living in a multicultural society now. Definitely. And I do think it's important that people kind of adhere to that and not just like notice, oh look, that person's a different colour, that person wears this, that person wears that, but actually really feel the fact that we can all get along and we can all kind of like...
We're all urban gypsies.
Yeah, exactly. We are all urban gypsies. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah, definitely.
You know? But yeah, so you got into music as well.
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing music for a while, man. Ages now. I held my first club night, my first rave, if you want, when I was like 16. I got found out I was 16 as well. And they cancelled the rave. I still might owe some people money. But yeah, I got kind of into it from them because like people I grew up with and all the cousins and what have you were DJs and MCs, and there was like an old sound in Mitcham back in the day called Drop Squad. They're still doing their thing, and we used to hear about Get Rich Crew and all these, and Galflex and 279 and all these DJs and Daddy, and then we'd kind of go and emulate that ourselves in our own little world. And the first time I ever like got on a mic was at a rave called Give Me Some More in Temple, Tottenham. It doesn't even exist no more. They broke it down in some flats or something. And this was the time when you got 2,000 people in a rave in Tottenham, and they didn't lock it off. So it was way back then, being truthfully.
Okay, and what kind of music was it that you was doing at the time? Well,
back then it was like the sounds were kind of like, you had to learn how to entertain the crowd. There was an MC called Simon Says. He used to work with at the time they called him Forbesy. He was actually Richard Forbes, who actually turned out to be Sticky, who worked with Miss Dynamite. He produced like Boo and that. And Simon was a really good showman. He really knew how to entertain the crowd and keep them going. So I kind of like learned that, and then obviously it turned into garage and grime. So you learn how to spit at different tempos. But I think that's what we do in the UK. I think the only thing that separates, like I said, what separates Skibbity and Skepta, in my opinion, is 10 years. But they were pretty much doing the same thing. Obviously, the nerd will turn around and say it's jungle and one's grime, but I just think it's 10 years separation, really, truthfully. And because I tell you why, if in America you got Twister, who spits really fast, right? But you call him a rapper. And you got Snoop Dogg, who spits really slow, but you still call him a rapper. Once you call it something, it can grow. If you keep changing the name every year, it doesn't allow anything to grow, in my opinion. So I think being from the UK, we learn to spit on everything. And we've got a little style. Well, that's what I try and stick to anyway. And I don't try and like limp myself off or anything like that. But yeah, I kept going. But I don't think I really got serious about it until I turned like 22 and I linked up with EXO properly.
And what happened from there?
well, EXO went on to do quite well. We're still doing well actually right now. I mean, the first single we put out, he actually featured me on it, which was called Bits Out, and we put that out and got the video on Channel U and got spins on the radio and interviews and stuff like that. And it was all independent at the time as well. And he just kind of like put the light back on in my room, if you want, in my music room, and it made me want to just start doing music again.
Because you have to be in that zone, don't you, to kind of start writing and
yeah.
Okay, so you've got 2 projects at the moment, On the House and Dragon's Den, the EP. which has your lead single Skinny Jeans. So
Skinny
what's
Jeans.
Skinny Jeans all about?
letting